That's a great question. The first thing I would advise any entrepreneur to focus on is branding. A lot of times we tend to put the cart before the horse and focus on advertising and flashy, cool technology and my big team. But all of that comes secondary to branding. And the reason why is because business is not only focused on grabbing attention, it's focused on keeping customers happy. And you can't keep them happy if they don't know who you are and what you stand for. Figuring out early on the kind of business you want to be and the way you want people to talk about you behind your back. That's your real brand. What are people saying when you're not listening? You want that brand to reign supreme. And if you focus on that from the beginning, everything else kind of makes it easy after that. So 100% focus on the branding right out the gate. That's another great question. Right off rip, I would say the best way to use their strengths and weaknesses to their advantage is to take the weaknesses and throw them out the window and forget about them and focus on your strengths. I think a lot of time growing up, the education system or even society encourages us to balance everything, and our good things are great and the weak things, work harder at those. But what's the point in working at something you may just not be good at? If you can focus on what you're actually good at and raise that bar, it's a lot easier to use that strength to enhance your business. For your weaknesses, the easiest thing you can do is find a partner, hire somebody, outsource. Not everybody can do numbers. Not everybody can do sales. Not everybody can do HR. Not everybody can do branding. Not everybody can do videos. And surely one person can't do all of those. The smartest man, well, there's a quote from John D. Rockefeller. It's something akin to, you're more of a genius if you can figure out how to deploy other people's talents to a greater mission. And that's what I encourage all entrepreneurs to use people and build a team so that everybody's holding their weight and adding their strength to the bucket. I think a lot of my positivity does have to do with my personality. I am a super grateful person. I'm a super optimistic person. And it's a bit of a bug that I can't turn off. Sometimes my friends may even pick at me saying, hey man, it's okay to be sad about certain things, or, you know, you don't have to be optimistic about every situation, but it's like a wrench in my head. I used to play Monopoly when I was a kid and I'd get beat down by my older brothers. So I always look for loopholes and ways to figure stuff out and make it better. So I think being the competitive person I am, I'm hardwired to figure out the silver lining on the other side in every situation. You get pulled over by a cop, the silver lining is maybe he's helping you or she's helping you be safer and you slow down in the future. It sucks you got that ticket, but maybe things are better afterward. Or you start a business and it fails. You learned a lot during that time. For instance, this is maybe 6th or 7th or 8th company for me. And it didn't start off winning right away, but I learned a lot of things along the way of what not to do. And then I learned things on what to do. So the main premise of that is, I think the way I am plays a big part in my optimism. The second thing about being positive is I think it's a choice. For the most part, you can't always choose joy. Sometimes your feelings or your energy overtakes you, but you can choose to try. And so I always choose to try. It doesn't always work, don't get me wrong, but I just love smiling. I'm from California. I got beautiful kids. I got a beautiful wife and I have a beautiful life. I have a great partner, a great company and great employees, and great camera descriptive DSLR cameras that give good quality. So why not be happy about that? Everything's good. So I think I just choose to be happy and that's what helps me. I 100% believe that Veriheal starting on the East Coast has set us apart and ahead in differentiation with Colorado and California companies. And here's the reason why. Cannabis on the West Coast, let's be honest, has been around for a very long time. The sentiment, the emotion, and the public perception of it is relatively positive. On the middle and on the East Coast, it hasn't been. And the main reason is because of its affiliation with criminal activity and being criminalized. I think that now the world is moving forward and understanding the plant is such a beautiful thing that still needs to be studied and expounded upon. And added value to. And so the East Coast is now just starting to get to there. But what that allowed us to do is see many different sides of the industry, because we ourselves are very pro cannabis. And so we had this idea, but our job is to educate people and to simplify cannabis so that the person who's anti-cannabis stops becoming anti-cannabis and understands that it's helping a lot of people. So I think because of that, we have an advantage, because that's how we always think. How can we help someone who doesn't understand and feel better about it? To me, success looks like having a vision and achieving that vision. On top of that, success looks like freedom, the ability to do anything you want at any time, within not only your company, of course, but in your personal life. For instance, every day I love to get up and work out and meditate. Sometimes during my work day, I'm working 12 hours. Sometimes it's 1 hour. Having that freedom to choose and move things around, that's when I can really say, I've been successful. But if I'm being honest, the biggest success for me is actually seeing people around me happy and people around me winning and succeeding. For me, the best purchase, I'll still say it to this day, I ever did was when I bought my mom a car, and she was, crying and just happy. Of course, now it wasn't such a big burden to me or anything, but that's something every kid wants to do, right? You want to bless your parents. And so when I was able to see that, that was a clickable moment, like, hey, you're achieving the visions, and it's starting to flow to everybody. Of course, the company growing, we have over hundreds of employees and doctors nationwide and globally. So that freedom, again, has been built up from the ground up with a good team, from an earlier point that I said, and seeing other people winning, that's the biggest success for me. Great question. So quality control, as far as numbers and making sure our budget's spent, everything always comes down to two things. It comes down to sales, and it also comes down to data. Our data is our information, and we're actually seeing correlations on these things, and we're making sure that we're making the money. So I'll be honest, actually running a $5, $10, $20 million company is a lot easier than running a $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 company, because we have a lot more resources and we can cut things at will, we can add things at will. So the more money it gets, for me as an operator, it's actually become much easier to allocate, because we get to try different things and see what works. When I started as a young entrepreneur, the top 3 things I've learned in business from then to today: first is build a team. Second, focus on the branding heavy, and that may even be in par with the first one. And the third is never lose money. Those 3 things for business have always served me well. One of the biggest challenges that comes to mind is I learned early on that betting and putting all of your business in one basket didn't prove well. And specifically what I mean is our business was at a time, not this business, but another business, predicated on one big customer who had 50% of our revenue as a business, and everything else was a trickle. When we lost that customer, we had to close the whole company down. It was a painful lesson, but it was a lesson I learned early on, is to never have really any of your customers be more than 20% of the money you're depending on, because if something happens, you may be out. And so I learned that early on. It was a great lesson. Now I've learned to spread out and diversify our sources of income in all of our businesses, so we're always good. My advice to anyone looking to get into the cannabis industry is to consider getting into the technology side and the ancillary business side. Everybody's usually infatuated with growing and touching the plant, but just like growing food and growing corn, there's a lot of pieces that go into it. You need tractors, you need seed to sell, you need wholesale, you need technology, you need all kinds of things to help the one product get from start A to endpoint Z. And so my advice would be to look at some of the businesses that can complement the cannabis industry, because they have little lower barriers to entry and also low capital costs. Sure, I can give you maybe 2 or 3 things. I think the first thing many people don't know is I'm an avid music a musician. I play the saxophone at a pretty professional and proficient level, and I received a music scholarship to go to college to play saxophone. So I love music, and along with that, I play the saxophone, the flute, the drums, the piano, the bass guitar, and I play them all very well. That's one thing. I think another thing that most people don't know, that's it. That's all I'm giving. I can't give too many unknown things, okay? Nothing else comes to mind, but that's a free one that I love music. Oh, another thing that people don't know is with that, I went to Florida A&M University and I was in the Marching 100. And during that time in our tenure, our band was able to perform with many artists. I performed with Killers, I performed with DJ Khaled, I performed with Prince at the Super Bowl. I've had a lot of blessed opportunities to just have some fun. So there's some cool drops for you. In 5 years, I see Veriheal as the go-to source for everything cannabis related. That is for medical, that is for general content, that is for videos, that is for data. I really see Veriheal being able to provide a lot of substantial data to fund science and research so that we can really push this plant forward. Great question. I think it's a two-part question, and there may be three people. First, the most inspirational person for me is my father. I consider him my hero. He's helped to raise 5 wonderful children, along with maybe 100+ other kids that have been living in our house, in and out. He's mentored many, and I just marvel at him as a man. He's treats people with love and respect and always forgives. And so I strive to be better like that every day. I think as a fun, adventurer, and challenging person, someone I've always looked up to is Michael Jackson. I love his moves, I love the music, I love the innovation. And growing up as a kid, I always looked up to someone who could go out and make people faint. That's an awesome thing to do. And he had some moves. Oh, another thing people don't know about me, I'm a dancer, like a really good dancer. So I used to dance in college and high school, and my friends still rile me up every now and then. So catch me on a good day with a good drink, and a good blunt, and we might make something happen. So that's good. As far as business, I think the biggest person that I look up to is Warren Buffett. I love him as an individual. I think he's a very kind person and also very strategic and very simple. Business is such that it can be very simple as well as life if you just stick to core principles and push along the way. I think my overall philosophy for leading an organization is to treat people how you would like to be treated. And I think it sounds simple, but the golden rule, which should be applied to all life, is when you show people appreciation, you value them, you're direct with them. When you don't like something, you tell them right away, you don't let it build up. When you like something, you give them praise. As an operator, it's important that people know that they're appreciated, but also that they have opportunity to achieve and challenge. I found that organizations where it's just the same thing every day and there's no upward mobility, it can get lonely, not only as an operator, but as an employee, and you think, what's the future? So I think giving people the opportunity to shine and giving people a little bit of freedom goes a long way. That is a kind question, the way it's posed. Asking, how do I juggle being a family man, a businessman, running multiple 6-figure, 7-figure companies, and also, has it always been easy? I would say I'm extremely blessed. I know that I'm blessed for many things. One, I was blessed to be born in America, the greatest country in the world. I was blessed to be born in California, the greatest state, in my opinion, in the US, and grow up around nice people and have a lot of siblings. So I was gregarious and I learned social settings and I loved talking to people. And then I was able to go to school and learn finance and sales and a lot of things. And all along the way, I've always loved kids. So I was able to meet the love of my life, and she's my rock, she's my backbone. And now we have children together and everything's just flowed easy. And then later on in life, I starting these businesses. I think from an early age, I was always a multitasker. So yes, this does come fairly easy to me. Of course, there's days where I'm like, today was hectic. But at the same time, I'm not the person who can sit at home all day long. It's like I have to do something. I think I get a little bit from that from my father. He was always around busy and working. So I see the value in working, whether it's physically with hands or with mental work, but I do enjoy it. I enjoy working, I enjoy creating value, and I enjoy meeting and working with people. So multitasking from the small level works as well, just in my bigger life. The way I'm able to do it is just being organized and disciplined. Just got to get up really early in the morning and you can make anything happen. So, great question. Me personally, I like to be intentional on my time. I've learned that skill over time, and that helps me to balance family more than anything. When I'm working, I'm working, and when I'm with family, I'm with family, and there's no interruptions, there's no exceptions. And also when I'm working, there's no interruptions, there's no exceptions. Of course, except for emergencies on both ends. I think you should find work that you enjoy doing. I love what I do with Veriheal, so I don't even see it as work. When I go on vacation, I still check emails and make phone calls, and then I go, relax with the fam, and then late at night I'm reading the Wall Street Journal and making sure I'm up to date on what's going on in the market. So it's kind of a holistic approach of knowing what you find interesting and what you like. And so for me, it's not as hard because I surround myself with things that I like to do for fun, and that helps balance off. I think becoming a father definitely made me more responsible, and it also made me think bigger. I realized some people, may think, oh man, things are much more tough. When I had my first kid and my second kid, and now my third child, which I'll let you know, we're expecting a young boy. With each child comes more excitement to deliver a life for that child, not only that I didn't have, because everybody says that, but a life that I think any child would want. I want to give that to my kids. Not only great education and great friends, but I want to show them the world. I want to show them different parts, different cultures, and I want to help them find their purpose so that they don't spend time on this earth just doing nothing, that they actually know what are they put on this earth for to give away to other people. So my life's been a life kind of full of service and helping others and blessing others. And so having my own kids that I can raise and hopefully, make them think like me, but also think like themselves. And you're trying to balance all the dichotomy all together. Having kids definitely made me think bigger. And each one that comes, I'm more and more happy. This is a great question. I approach talking to my children about cannabis the same way I talk to strangers and adults or anybody. I first remind them to unstrip anything that they learned from the media and start from step one. Where does cannabis grow? It grows out of the ground. What does that make it? It's a plant. So I let them know right away that cannabis is not some harmful, dangerous thing that they need to stay away from. I also helps to have the conversation by normalizing it, because we have cannabis in our house. They'll see us use it. And in many countries, they're using cannabis every single day. It's a cultural thing from country to country. So I let them know everybody sees things differently. When you're older and your body's more susceptible, you can enjoy certain different forms of it. But ultimately, I let them know it's medicine and also can be used for your own personal enjoyment, even if you are sick or not sick. But it's nothing that can harm you. And when you're older, you can learn for yourself and see if it's for you. No pressure, no misinformation, just all love and all science. The time management question. The real answer is 2 tips I have for making sure I get time with family. One, I just have to wake up early, 5, 6 a.m., maybe the latest. Waking up every single day. The time is in the morning. The second is scheduling. Much like we schedule our doctor appointment, we schedule this. I realize I need to actually start scheduling time for family and being proactive on planning things, saying, hey, on Thursday, we're gonna go all surf together. On Saturday, we're gonna go to the farmer's market, buy some food and give it out to the homeless. On Monday, we're going to have Bible study, or we're going to watch a movie together. Being intentional and saying we're gonna plan these things has helped out tremendously. Sometimes you even plan for downtime. Hey, this Saturday, nobody's coming over. We're not doing anything. We're sitting on the couch all day and watching Netflix. So I think just putting it on the calendar has helped out a lot. I think I've learned a lot of humility and also a lot of excitement in having a partner who supports your vision. There's a big difference between a partner who doesn't understand the life of an entrepreneur. It's not fun. I mean, starting out, it's not sexy. It's not fun. There's a lot of late nights. You know, you're out studying. Even when you're home, you're not home mentally, because if you're actually grinding and working, it's stressful, you're tired, and that takes a toll not only on you, but your significant other. So it really takes a tough person, a loving, caring person who says, you know what, I see the bigger vision and let's do this together. And so I think since pretty much all business we do together, even with Veriheal, you know, she gives me great insights and kind of gives me that extended opinion from outside of the ranks and helps to balance that. I'm learning from that hey, this thing is bigger than just me. It involves everybody, and especially my spouse and the queen. Much like in the castle, you know, the king always has to talk to her before every move. So it helps me out a lot. It helps me to grow a lot and a lot faster. For me, resilience means going forward even when it looks like you've lost. For me, every day is definitely not a win. And I think since I'm such a positive person, sure, it could come off like that sometimes just because that's my choice. But there are setbacks, there are tough days. There are days where you ponder and you can't control it, but your brain just thinks, what if I was doing X, Y, Z, or what if this happened? Or even you start imagining bad things and all of that. And then actual bad things happen, you know, not just business, it could be health, family, loss, grief. And you can't control everything. So what I've always told myself is, whenever I'm having bad things, is that, listen, everything's going to be okay. And nothing great has come in without resistance in history. Nothing. So I know that anytime I'm going through hardships, whether that's sales, I'm trying to land a partnership, I'm trying to get in contact with a certain person, and I just hit roadblocks after roadblocks. I just remind myself the end is in sight. And if you keep pushing, if you keep going against it, eventually it's got to give, because I'm not going to give. If my back's against the wall, there's only one way I can go, is forward. So for me, resilience means definitely having determination, dedication, and never giving up, pushing towards that goal so that you can get the end result that you believe you've earned. That's all I got.